Alright, I'm going to show you how I hooked up my radio. Now, I don't know if it's right, but it works. All 4 speakers work. I don't have the tweeters hooked up because I couldn't figure out the wires to them. First, here's my Eclipse. It's an 03 Spyder GTS. Nothing fancy. It had that when I bought it, that paint mark. Okay. Now, if you still have your factory amp, it probably looks like this. This is what is underneath your passenger seat, bolted to the floor. And it's got them plug-ins right there. So, here's what I did. First, you're going to have to take out your seat. This right here is the connector that used to plug into the amp. And I had to look online and find, the color codes to the speakers. Which wire goes to what speaker, Well, I figured that out. The wires that aren't cut from it, I don't know what those are to. But see, all these right here, there's 8 wires you're going to have to cut off of this connector right here underneath the seat. And these are all your speaker wires. All these right here. Okay. Now what I did, there's a sheet, I've got a sheet of paper that I wrote down the colors for you. Which wires goes to what speaker and all that. So, there's 4 pairs of wires here, so that means there's 8 separate wires running underneath the carpet up to the radio. There's 8 wires because each speaker has a positive and a negative, a power and a ground. So there's 8 wires. So what I did, I cut probably 2 foot of speaker wire into 8 separate lengths. They were the same length, but I cut them, in sections about as long as that panel right there. Well, anyhow, you run it up underneath the carpet, up through the dash. And here's what you need to do with your radio. Now, this radio was 25 bucks at AutoZone. Cheap radio. It works. I bought this dash kit off of eBay for 15 bucks. Okay. Now let me get some of this unhooked here. Okay. So, this right here is a connector for the new radio. Now you'll have to figure yours out, but I wanted to show you these sets of wires right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are all the speakers. Now you'll have to look at your instruction manual for your radio and see what wires on the radio, the new one, need to match up to on the car. So basically what I did, from this connection down here, I hardwired it. That amp was the bridge between these 2 wires, but now it's not. So you got to bypass that and just add the wire yourself. Okay. Now if yours had the big radio like mine, it had the power button and it lit up orange, and had the sync buttons, and it was a 6-disc CD changer. This is the factory harness that plugged back into it. Now I actually just figured this out the other day. See, I hadn't even used this harness for like 6 months, but I fixed my radio right the other day. Okay, on your factory radio harness, on my radio, this has a fuse in it. This yellow wire from my new radio, this is the battery. This is your memory wire. This is what keeps your settings and keeps your stations and all that stuff. So every time you crank up the car, you don't have to fix nothing. You hook up your memory wire to the battery wire. Battery positive. It's a red and white wire. Okay. Now the ground. I ran my ground from the new radio back to the cigarette lighter that's in your back cubby hole. I just tapped off the ground off of that and it works fine. Now this red wire here, this red wire is off of my new radio. What you're looking for is this white and black wire on the car. This is your accessory power wire. Okay? Red and white is battery. Black and white is accessory. And you shouldn't need any of these other plugs and stuff. I don't even know what those wires are for. Okay, anyhow. Here's what I wrote for you. Let me get it to a place you can see it. Now you may have to pause it, screenshot it, whatever you need to do. These right here are, okay, let me think. It's been a while. Okay. So down here at this harness, there's a white and blue wire. The white and blue wire at this harness, which I've already, connected to. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is, right here. Okay. White and blue wire. That is the front left positive. And see, that's what you'll have to do. Just take a screenshot of this and find the wires, and you can label them if you want. Put a piece of tape on the wires and, write on them. But really, that's all I did. It's not too hard. I didn't solder or nothing. I just kind of twisted the wires together and taped them up. And I did that 7-8 months ago, and it still works fine. So I do plan on fixing it, though. But, yeah. It's simple to do. It's real confusing at first, but basically, you take this and compare it to your instruction booklet, you got with your new radio. And what you do, you match them up. See, the left front speaker wire here is white and blue. You need to cut a piece of speaker wire, solder it to the end of this one after you cut it from a connector. Okay, cut it from a connector. You add that speaker wire, under the dash, under the carpet up through the dash, and you find the left front positive wire on your new connector. Now, and you connect the other end of that new speaker wire that you just cut, and you connect that speaker wire to that radio. And you just repeat the process for all of these. And after that, your radio should work.